Hi, this is the Philosophical Angle program, and I am your host, Chris Angle. I'm the author of 4 books in philosophy, one of which is The Philosophical Equations of Economics. And these books are available free for viewing at thephilosophicalangle.com. And make a comment if you like this program by hitting the like button, or make suggestions in the comment boxes below. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Along with me is my colleague and co-host, Rick Samuelson. Rick graduated from Yale, has MBAs from Wharton and Tufts, and he's an independent venture capitalist out on the West Coast. Rick, good to see you.
And you.
The purpose of the philosophical angle is to examine the nature of concepts and ideas being presented in current media. And so this week we're going to talk about why the Democrats are so brutally vindictive against Trump. They've been advocating the use of the 25th Amendment and now a second impeachment. And in order to understand their behavior, we need to look into the nature of the left and the right for a little bit, and then we can find out the causes of this very vindictive behavior. Some of the media has been saying that it's revenge, but I think there's something more to it, and we're going to discuss that a little bit later. So first, let's just briefly talk about what the right is, the origin of the conservative, and they come from the have-nots of society, the workers, the serfs, the proletariats, the slaves, and they seek the first dictum of life, and which is that all life seeks that which is good for it, just like the left seeks the same thing for it. But these people, they strive for goodness in their lives, and they're at peace because when they're fulfilling their objective unobstructedly, when they had no obstruction to fulfill that dictum, they're at peace. And these individuals, these slaves, these serfs, these proletariat, they seek first and foremost fairness and equality before the laws of society, so that they may strive for betterment in their life along equally with everybody else. And so they seek equality before the law and pursuing their the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, as Jefferson would say. And so the left, however, comes from the origin of the kings and queens and the nobles of society. And as the society advanced, they and more people were added to society and became more complicated. A class of facilitators that worked for the nobles and the kings and the queens became into being. And in modern day democracies, for example, the nobles and associates are now replaced with government bureaucrats, and in addition to that, the top corporate management. And all these strata are they're needed to control the have-nots. And some of the left believe that the have-nots are bad because they are not just of the because not only are they not of the social class of the haves, but they are also, they believe that the haves not do not have that they're inherently bad people. And so those are two reasons. They look down upon them because they're in low class, and they believe in them that they are inherently of bad character and of a bad nature. And so these facilitators of the have-nots control the have-nots either through government laws, regulations, but they also control many of the have-nots through motivation. For example, they might, for example, welfare is a motivating force. If you allow somebody to live and for nothing and receive money, you have a motivation to do nothing, to be a have-not. So the have-nots will think that they are providing a social network for the have-nots. And this is born from the concept of noblesse oblige. And this came out of its origin was in the early 1800s, but the thought process probably came out of the revolutions that brought forth this notion that you have to take care of the lower class people, otherwise they rise up. For example, the French Revolution brought this to bear, and they realized that you can't take them and put them down so far that they have no hope. They have to have some hope in society, otherwise they rise up and take you to the guillotine. So, and this is also in modern society too. This belief in noblesse oblige has gone into the 20th century, and with the communist societies and the fascists and the socialists, and they're all coming from the origin of the kings and the thoughts of the kings and queens, and they all have belief that you've got to treat the worker. You've got to give him a social welfare net. But there are some other principles that need to be explained here, and there are 5 in total in addition to the noblesse oblige. And one is we've already mentioned the dictum for the demand for the good. All life seeks that which is good for it. Another one is that the Lord Acton principle. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And the way that happens is that once you get to be a king or a queen, you can forget about having to cooperate with the lower echelon of society, with the slaves of society. And when that happens, when you have no obligation to be to cooperate with the low class, you lose respect for them, and so this ends up to corrupt your mind, because you only think of your priorities and no one else's. And and you can see that in the French nobility before the Revolution. And then you have the St. Augustine's principle of libido dominandi, which says that there's a will in man to dominate. And we add to that, of course, that the haves believe that the have-nots are inherently not good. So look at history and just see how the kings treated the common man all throughout history. It hasn't been a very pretty picture. But of course, there are some who do not submit to control, and there are some who do not want to remain in serfdom and be a worker bee for the haves, and they break out, and a middle class society is born, and they prosper. But the haves tolerate this because they pay taxes, and but they tolerate as long as they don't jump into the facilitator and the upper classes. And it'll be thought and considered by the haves that these serfs, these non-cooperative serfs that adhere to individual rights, we can't forget that they believe that they are basically bad people, and therefore there's no respect, as we mentioned, of these of the individual rights of these have-nots, whether they are the conformists in that they stay in their lower class, or non-conformists in when they break out. They are inherently bad people, and so there's a need for a necessary control of the have-nots. And because they're in heart and they're inherently bad people, there is no empathy for their loss of individual rights, and these are the deplorables. And so we'll take so Trump was a nonconformist. He jumped out of the out of the working class and made it into the political class. First, he made it into the middle class, and then he made it and then did very well. And then suddenly, he jumped to the political class. He went right past the facilitators. He went right past the Democrats and the Rhino Republican class. And they went all the way to the King and Queen class. And it's unforgivable. They cannot forgive him from going all the way from the lower class, jumping right past them all to being to the King and Queen class. And so the facilitator government class, they will never forgive him. And I think that's been pretty much portrayed in most of the media, that thought. But there's another reason why they will never forgive him, and they will hunt him and all those who follow him to the ends of the earth. And because the haves remember the origin and the concept of noblesse oblige, and they know that what came out of the revolution was terrible, of the French Revolution, whereby the serfs rebelled against the haves, the king and queens, and there were actually two rebellions. You could add not only the French Revolution, but you can hang in there you can add in there the American Revolution. And Trump, in his 4 years, he was also known to be part of the Tea Party. That he came out of the Tea Party, and this is a term from the American Revolution. And so that's a pretty interesting segue, that he came from the Tea Party right to the President of the United States. So the second jolt came from the actual breach of the Capitol building. So allegedly, these are Trump followers, although there's some argument about that. And this is right where the haves have set up shop. And this was so scary that they will react with all their fervency, with all their energy and viciousness that they can possibly muster up. They will take this negative energy toward the followers of President Trump. And all you have to do to verify this is look at history. See what the haves have done to their subjects when they speak up, when they object, when they rebel. You can look at many societies that have been violent in their will to quell any revolt. And they will burn down. So the Democratic left, I will predict, will now burn down and destroy all and every person that breached the White House, not the White House, the Capitol building, and that includes President Trump himself. Rick, what do you think of all this?